This week we learned 3 ways for multiplying a mixed number by a whole number. Let's quickly review them. So the first way that we talked about was drawing a picture. So let's look at this problem. 3 times 2 and 3/4. So that means 3 copies of 2 and 3/4. So if I were to draw that, I would draw 2 and 3/4. I'm just doing real quick scribbles here to make it fast. And I would draw that 3 times. And then I'll be able to first see how many holes I have. And so I can see that I have 2 columns of 3 circles, or 3 rows of 2 circles. So I have 6 holes, and then I can count up my fourths. I have 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4, 9/4. And I can see that if I were going to take a fourth from here, I can fill it in there, I can fill one in here, and that leaves 1/4 in the last circle. So this is the same as 2 and 1/4. I add together my holes in that 2 and 1/4, and I find that this equals 8 and 1/4. Another method for solving these problems is to do repeated addition. So looking at the same problem again, I would do 3 copies of 2 and 3/4, or 2 and 3/4 plus 2 and 3/4 plus 2 and 3/4. So that gives me, I can add the whole numbers, 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6, 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 3/4 equals 9/4. Or as we saw last time, that's the same as 2 and 1/4. And together, I get 8 and 1/4. Another way we learned yesterday was to change the mixed number into an improper fraction. So I can take 2 and 3/4 and change it to an improper fraction by knowing that 2 is the same as 8/4 plus 3/4 is 11/4. So I can change the original problem to 3 times 11/4, and that's going to give me 33/4. If I want to change that back into a mixed number, I think how many holes can I make out of 33/4? So 33 divided by 4 is 8 with 1 left over, so 8 and 1/4. Today we're going to learn about another method, and it's very similar to partial products that we learned with whole number multiplication. So I'm going to take our original problem and I'm going to write it vertically. So 2 and 3/4 times 3. Remember, when we did partial products, we would take apart and do the expanded form of the numbers and multiply each part together. So for instance, if I had the problem 20, so for instance, if I had the problem 31 times 6, I would change this to 30 plus 1, and then I would do 30 times 6 and 1 times 6 to find my answer. We can use that same sort of idea with mixed numbers and whole numbers. So I know that 2 and 3/4 is the same as 2 plus 3/4. So I can do 2 times 3 as my first partial product to get 6. And then I can do 3/4 times 3 to get 9/4. If I were to add that together, I would get 6 and 9/4, but I know that 9/4 is going to be the same as 2 and 1/4, so I can do 6 plus 2 and 1/4 equals 8 and 1/4. So multiplying using the partial products method is another strategy that we can use to solve these types of problems. Let's try one more. So I have 6 times 4 and 3/8. So this one would not be that much fun to do repeat addition or drawing a picture because there's a lot of copies of my mixed number. So in that case, usually changing it to an improper fraction or using partial products is going to be the most efficient way of solving. So let's practice the partial products way. So I'm going to think of 4 3/4 as 4 plus 3/4. And I'm going to multiply each part of that equation, 4 plus 3/8, by 6. So I'm going to do 6 times 4, which gives me 24. Then I'm going to do 3/8 times 6, or 6 times 3/8, which gives me 18/8. So this would be 24 and 18/8. Well, 18/8 is the same as 2 and 2/8. So if I were going to add that to the 24, I get 26 and 2/8. Now, do you have to solve it vertically? No, you can solve it horizontally as well. So if I were going to solve it horizontally, I might look at this problem and think to myself, oh, I can do 6 times 4 plus 6 times 3/8. I just make sure I multiply my whole number by each part of my mixed number. So 6 times 4, 24, 6 times 3/8, 18/8. Just like we got before, we're going to get 26 and 2/8. So in conclusion, there's 4 ways of solving multiplication problems involving mixed numbers and whole numbers. You can draw a picture, repeat addition, change the mixed number to an improper fraction, or multiply in parts or partial products. The last 2 are probably the most efficient ways of doing it.